Alright, so this is going to be a quick video showing how to open up and disassemble this Acer Nitro 5 AN515-42 series, model number N17C1, and the exact model is AN515-42-R5ED. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is remove the hard drive here if there is one. Alright, we're using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Right, you want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. Once you remove that, we're going to get underneath here and pop this up. And there we go. You can see there is a hard drive there. Okay, to keep the screws in order, I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them, but you can do whatever helps you remember. All right, so there are 4 screws holding this hard drive in place. It looks like the customer might have tried to take them out before and stripped them a little bit, so be very careful. If your screwdriver isn't getting a tight fit, make sure you use the right screwdriver, one that fits well, that doesn't wiggle around too much. Okay, so there's 4 screws holding this hard drive in place. All right, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. All right, let's go ahead and get this hard drive out. So you get this tab, lift up here just like this. Be very careful because there's this cable here. You don't want to accidentally yank it out. So what I do is I use my thumbnail here. Let me zoom in. Okay, so I hold the hard drive and then I use my thumbnail here, and we're gonna push. I'm gonna use my thumb to push it out like that. You don't want to pull this back because you'll accidentally rip this cable out. Okay, and then I'm gonna use my nail again to help pull it again. And there we go. All right, so we got the hard drive out. This is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. You can upgrade this to an SSD if you want. 2.5-inch SATA SSD. All right, any size capacity works, so don't ask that question. A lot of people ask me what's the largest capacity you can use. As long as it fits in this slot, you'll be fine. You can use a 4 terabyte or an 8 terabyte if they even have one, but if it's too thick, obviously you won't be able to fit it in here. All right, anyways, we're gonna take this screw out. Oh man, what? They have a weird screw in here. Okay, I don't know if that's what came with it. I have a feeling they swapped it because I'm pretty sure I've never seen this kind of screw in one of these before. So it looks like it's a security bit. And I think it's like a 8 or a 9. Okay, so that's really weird. Okay, so this happened to have a T9H or a Torx 9 security bit. As you can see, it's a Torx bit, and there's a little thing in the center of it that makes it so you can't just use... Actually, okay, my eyes were playing tricks on me. It's not a security bit, so a T9 would work just fine. But again, I don't know. I think somebody opened this before and put that there because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a PH1 or JS1, especially since who's going to put a special bit for the RAM? Okay, so we're going to pop the RAM door open. Ouch. Why is this so hard stuck in there? Okay, so I use the corner here, and then I also use the thumb here to help lift on both sides. And there we go. We got this out. Okay, I don't know why that was so tough. There's 2 slots, only one's being used. We're going to pull these 2 tabs to the side just like that, and then we can go ahead and slide this out after it angles itself upwards. There's some dust in there. Let's get that out. Here you can see the RAM is PC4 2400T. All right, you should be fine with any PC4 2400T RAM. So if you want, you can get 2 16 gig sticks if you really wanted 32 gigs. If you want 16 gigs, you can just get another 8 gig stick to match, and you should be okay. Usually you don't want to mismatch the sizes of the RAM if you can help it. So it's better if you get matching RAM so that way it can work simultaneously for dual channel speeds. All right, so we got that out. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to take all the bottom screws out. Again, it should be all PH1 or JS1. I don't know why they had like different ones. And usually what I do is I go in rows. So we'll go like 1, there's nothing here. And then there's 2, and then 3 and 4. All right, so I'll do that in rows to help me keep track of where the screws came from. And yeah, again, I don't know if they screwed up something moving screws around. So yeah. Alright, so we'll get those 4 out, and we'll just continue getting all the screws out. Also, there's a little battery reset hole here that you can use a bent out like small paper clip to press and hold. If for some reason your computer's not turning on properly, sometimes pressing and holding that will work. And that's only for like if it's not powering on or something. It's not for if it's giving you a boot error code or something. But if you want, you can try. It won't erase anything. It's just like kind of like a CMOS BIOS or battery disconnect reconnect kind of thing. So yeah, it shouldn't cause any problems. If your BIOS has some special settings, it might reset those settings, but usually it shouldn't affect any of that. Okay, so we're gonna remove these screws. And also, if this video helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, if you can't, liking, subscribing, and sharing my channel does help. So please consider doing that, especially since everybody has a computer these days. I'm pretty sure 90% of the computers that are out there, I'll probably have a video for it now, almost. At least 50%, unless it's like a super old computer. All right, because I've worked on so many of these. Anyways, now that we've got all these screws out, we are going to have to pop the bottom cover off. So these covers, you technically, okay, this cover you actually, okay, never mind. You do have to remove all these covers to remove this, so ignore what I was saying. I was about to say you probably don't have to remove them, but you do. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and pop this piece off. So usually the easiest way I find to do this, depending on, you might have to pull from the bottom or from this side or from this side. Usually what I do is I'll get my fingernails in the gap here. If you don't have fingernails, you can let them grow out, or you can use plastic pry tools, and then I'll use my thumb to push and then my fingers to pull. So basically we're pulling it like this, rotating it, and as you can see, pops open super easily. Okay, you want to be very careful here because you don't want to drop anything. So we're gonna now go down the sides, okay, just like this, and be very careful at all these ports because you don't want to pry the ports out. You just want to pop the plastic clips from the cover here. Okay, and also if you have anything in these ports, make sure you remove those so you don't like rip them out. Okay, going to the other side, same thing. You can hear how easy it is to pop those clips out. Okay, that's why I like to use my fingernails. People complain about them being long, but I need them. It makes my job so much easier. Okay, so here you can see it's still a little bit stuck on the back here, so we're gonna have to figure out this. So in this little gap back here, you should be able to slide a pry tool or again your fingernails. So I just run my fingernails along in there, and as you can see, it's kind of separating, and there we go. All right, so nice and easy. Flip this up. Okay, there are still some clips back here that seem to be stuck, so let's go ahead and see what's going on there. I think it's around this lock hole. Okay, so this part seems to be a lot more difficult for some reason to pop out. Yep, but there we go. Okay, so we just had to pop that last clip, and oh, it got clipped back down. There we go. So we got this bottom cover off. Again, if you had the hard drive connected here, you want to be very careful. You could technically leave the hard drive connected here, but you do have to disconnect this. So after you disconnect this cable, you can just put the hard drive back in there, and there you go. You can see it's pretty dusty in here. Customer wanted me to clean up the fans and everything. You can see it's pretty dusty. They said it was overheating, excuse me. All right. One thing to take note of, this laptop does have a slot for an M.2 SSD. I'm assuming it supports M.2 PCIe NVMe because it would be stupid to just have another SATA port here when they already have this here. What is this gunk here? Okay, there's some weird gunk here. I'm going to have to clean that up. I don't know, some thermal paste or something got in there. Okay. Anyways, we'll clean that off. We don't want to leave random debris floating around in there. This hard drive cable, because people have asked me, let's go ahead and take a look. I'm gonna first actually disconnect the battery here. So to disconnect the battery, let me zoom in. We're gonna grab the wings of the connector and just wiggle it just like this. Okay, and there we go. Make sure that you put this back the right way. If you buy a brand new battery to replace, make sure the red wires are going towards the keyboard cable here and the black wires are going towards the keyboard backlight cable here, which is this thin brownish colored one. All right, the other way you know is you don't want these metal pins exposed facing up. You want them facing downwards. They actually draw a little dot here to tell you which side is face up, but if you didn't buy the, or if you're replacing the battery, a lot of times it doesn't have that marker there for you. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. I have all these screws all over my desk, so I can't get a super good close up here, but we're gonna remove the battery here. So we got one screw there, and we got one screw here, and I think that's it. So we got those two screws out. We're gonna have to carefully peel this adhesive off, either from this side or this side. You don't have to peel both sides up. I feel like peeling the side from the battery might be safer, so I'm gonna kind of try and just peel this up a little bit. And you want to roll the adhesive back. You don't want to pull straight up, because then it can separate layers in the battery. Okay, so we're just pulling it straight back just like that, and there we go. And then we'll remove it from there. And now that we got it disconnected from the battery, we should be able to lift this up, unless there's some screws I missed. Yep, just like that, and we can pull it out at an angle. Battery model is right here if you need it. AC14B8K. There you go. You can see it's a little dusty under here with some crumbs and stuff, so we are going to have to clean all of this up. You can see keyboard connector here. This connector has this latch. You can pull it down. First thing, actually, after disconnecting the battery, we want to be extra safe. We're going to carefully open up the computer, and then we're going to press and hold the power button here for about 15 seconds. This drains any residual power from the motherboard, capacitors, and things like that, and makes it a lot safer to work on. It doesn't drain 100%, so don't be careless and do like whatever with it, but it makes it to where there's not enough power to cause any like arcs and sparks that can be really damaging. This is very important, especially if you're going to be messing with the LCD LVDS connector. I've seen a lot of people damage these connectors because they didn't drain the power, and then like a spark flies out and melts stuff. I don't know where this little piece came from. It looks like some broken plastic, maybe from the back. Huh. So this thing has some broken plastic here. Apparently it's missing a lot of it, not just this. So I don't know which side this came from. It looks like from here. Okay, and it's also missing some plastic here. But yeah, we're just gonna leave that broken stuff off because you can't really put it back right, and it's not gonna help with anything. All right, so keyboard backlight connector here. This one has a little flip latch here, and then you can pull the cable out, and then you can put it back in and then flip it back down. Again, keyboard connector has this. You wiggle these down and you can see it goes a little lower. We're going to push it back in because we don't want to mess with any of these. I'm just showing you how they work. Then you got the trackpad touchpad connector here, connects to the touchpad trackpad here. It looks like there's screws under here to remove the trackpad, but I'm not going to mess with that because the customer just needs to have it cleaned up so it doesn't overheat. You got this connector here for this. I'm assuming this is the lid close sensor, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't see what else it does. But yeah, okay. Then you got the speaker here. It's not held in with screws. It's just these rubber things that you should be able to kind of wiggle it and lift it up, but it does hang over it a little, so you might have to work with it a little. The cable runs all the way along to the center here, and then they both plug in up here, okay? Got the other speaker on this side, right? You got the DC jack charge port connector here, which runs all the way along over to here, and this charge port you can remove just by lifting it up and taking this out, okay? Make sure you get it back in the notches, right? And you got the wireless antennas running along down here to the wireless card here. Doesn't really have a model number or anything, I don't know. Maybe it does. You can read that and see if you can figure it out. Okay, so we got that. Let me open this up because I've had people ask me about which connector on here, one of the connectors on here. I think they're asking the hard drive connector. So yeah, so let me move this over and give you a closer look. So hard drive is here. You can see the connectors running along under here. Let's lift this latch up here and move this cable out of the way. And you can actually see the hard drive connectors right there. So it just plugs in right underneath this cable. This is a fan connector here. Then you got this tape here, and I think the speaker connector is right there, under there actually. So fan connector here, and then you got another fan connector right here underneath this tape. And these have those little wiggle connectors to get them out. All right, so I don't want to mess with all those connectors again, like I mentioned, because there's some slight risk involved, and I don't want to mess up stuff that's not already having problems. So everything else looks good. GPU is right here, soldered to the motherboard. CPU is right next to it right here, also soldered to the motherboard. So you can't upgrade it, you can't replace it, unless you have some really good skills with doing like reballing and replacing those kinds of chips. But standard, like normal person won't be able to do that. You'd have to have like a lot of training and stuff or practice with that. All right, and then I think that's pretty much it. The two USB ports and the audio board are replaceable. If you want to see, there's a more close-up look. All right, anyways, I'm going to clean up the fans. You'll see it's going to be a lot less dusty here. We'll clean off the battery, we'll clean off the back of this, and then yeah, we'll come back and put it all back together. So yep, see you guys in a bit. All right, so I'm back. You can see how much cleaner that is. All right, you can see the battery a lot cleaner as well. Okay, and the bottom, of course, a lot cleaner as well. All right, we don't got all that dust all stuck on it, and there's a lot of crumbs and stuff all stuck all over it. Anyways, let's zoom out. Let's get a thumbnail here. Okay, let's zoom out a bit more. Okay, I'll just zoom in on it for the thumbnail. Excuse me. So there we go. We got all of that. All right, so first thing we're going to put back is the battery, because that was on the inside and we can't unplug that from the outside. Make sure everything is reconnected before you do this, okay? And then the battery, to put it in, you have to put it at an angle like this, okay? Because there are these little feet that hold itself in place on the sides here, okay? So these sides have to go into those little notches or grooves. Then you can lower this down into place, line it all up, and there we go. Okay, you shouldn't be able to pull the battery out from this side. Okay, as you see, I can lift the laptop. Oh, if the screws here, you can see like you can actually lift the laptop open from that. Okay, so there you go. Now we're gonna get these screws back in. Okay, so that one and this one. All right, so there we go. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put the bottom cover back on. Oh, don't forget to plug the battery back in, of course. If you don't, then your computer's not gonna work on battery, obviously. Okay, so we'll get this line back up. Make sure again that the wires are facing the right way, and make sure to get this in straight. Don't put it in crooked, because if you put it in crooked, you can bend the pins that are in there. Okay, so pinch that into place. Good. Let's zoom back out here. There we go. We don't need to zoom out that much, so we'll get that back into place. All right, get this bottom cover lined back up. Okay, and then just click it all back in. Work your way around. Be careful again not to damage this. Just like that. Double check all around. So here you can see this was kind of like, yeah, covered there. I don't know how that part like broke like that. I don't know if it was dropped at one point or something and it was cracked, and then when I removed it, it didn't have this to hold it in place anymore. But anyways, let's go ahead and get all these screws back in. There are a lot of screws. All right. Hopefully you guys were able to keep them all in order. Most of these screws actually look to be about the same size. So most likely, I think all of these screws are supposed to be the same size, and the one that was here, somebody probably put the wrong one. Or maybe they lost one of the screws and decided to put that there. So technically it looks like all these bottom screws are about the same size, so you probably won't have any issue. But again, it's always a good idea to keep them all in order just to be safe, because you never know. Sometimes they won't. Okay. So let's get all these screws back in. And then we should be good to go. I do also need to blow the keyboard out to make sure it's all cleaned up. But yeah, other than that, we're just going to put everything back together. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers, so keep that in mind. I won't have these computers to kind of like show anything else once you see the video. Because yeah, I don't own these computers. These all go back to the customers once I'm done. All right, so yeah, we'll get all of this back into place and we should be good to go. last few in. And last few in. Okay, then we'll get this in. So to get this in, you put it at an angle like this, and then you work this side in, and then you work this side in. I like to hold the middle or this up a little bit so it kind of bows a little. That way it's not as long. So when it's bowed like this, you can see it's like shorter than if it's all the way out like this, then it's too long. So it makes it harder for those clips to engage properly. All right, so we got this now. So we're gonna get the hard drive here. And just like before, we're gonna move the hard drive, not the connector. So I hold the connector with my finger, and then I'm gonna push the hard drive into it. So hold it with my finger and push that into it. There you go. Because if your hard drive's out here and you pull this, it might yank the cable. So you wanna be very careful that you don't accidentally do that. All right, so we'll get this back into place. Get this, oh, some of these screws are a little bit loose, so I do need to tighten these up, I guess. Or maybe somebody put the wrong screw there, because that seems like thicker than normal. Oh, I see. This one screw on this side is loose. All right, so we'll tighten this all into place. Good thing they brought it, because that screw could have like fallen out and then fell inside the computer, and that won't be good. All right, then we're gonna get the 4 screws that were holding the hard drive in place and get those back in. Okay, got that one, this one, and the last 2. Okay. That one and this one. All right, there we go. So we got those 4 in. Now we're gonna get the left side in like this, and then similar thing, you kind of like flex it a little. Get that in and then get that in. All right, and let's get these last couple screws in and we're good to go. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, if it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Let's go ahead and flip this over. Again, make sure it powers on, because some people like to ask me like, but did it turn on? I want to make sure. Okay, and I'm gonna have to clean out this as well, of course, because the keyboard's all dusty. And there you go, it turns on, and we should be good to go. All right, so we'll see that. All right, and those are spinning, so we should be good. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Also, if I didn't mention, it's an Acer Nitro 5, and then there's all those other models. It sounds like their fan's actually bad. Maybe I need to figure out which one. It's not just a dust issue, it's actually their fan's bad. And here you can see it actually completely shut off, or powered on. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If I do need to replace the fan or repair the fan, we'll go from there. But yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.